Hi, it's Steve. Thanks for joining me. Why do people say that you can benefit from doing a presentation? You can benefit from being able to sell yourself effectively to larger and larger groups of people. Have you ever had to do a presentation or any public speaking and really hated it? Were you worried for days beforehand, unable to eat before the presentation or speech, and feeling that something was going to go wrong with your mind? Mind would just go completely blank, or with your body, your leg might shake, or you're worried about fainting? Well, me too. I was bullied as a kid, and I was ridiculed by my teacher in front of the class at primary school. Now, they had a different way of doing things in the 60s, and although I displayed all the signs of dyslexia, the best way that they thought to motivate me into achieving was to drag me up to the front of the class and explain it to all my peers. So I've developed a brilliant method of my mind going completely blank when anybody looked at me. But I've found a way to get over my fear, to enjoy public speaking, and to enjoy helping a person reach their full potential. I attended a trainer development program that taught me how to structure a presentation. Now, this was about 20 years or so ago, and the trainers were heavily involved in neuro-linguistic programming, which is why I think 10 years later it struck such a chord with me, and why I use NLP so much in my business. So I'm Steve Dickinson. I'm creator of the reality management coaching process and author of Presenting Multiple Incomes. As I said, I work with business owners, consultants and coaches, people who are frightened of public speaking. They're not reaching their full potential. They don't have enough money, and they have difficulty getting their message across. They're frightened of public speaking, and in particular frightened of looking nervous or stupid. They're stressed, and they don't have the time to do what they love. Now, as I said, I'm a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. Here's a photograph of one of the co-creators of NLP, Richard Bandler. I'm wearing the rucksack, he's wearing the shoulder bag, and whilst we were leaving, someone shook a camera at us. Not the best photograph in the world, but it's the only one I've got at the moment. Also, I was a committed partner and life coach for the charity Youth at Risk. I was placed by the local education authority into a school to help coach disaffected children that were at risk of failing their exams, or being excluded from school, or maybe even punching their teacher in the face again. So I've got a coaching process for success. I offer training in business strategies and techniques, templates to help you create the presentation that you want, videos, audios, and written instructions to help people effortlessly improve their happiness and productivity. Now, you can save time with a presentation because you can sell your products or services to one person. But to sell to 30 people, it's going to take you 30 times as long, unless you talk to 30 people at exactly the same time. It's 30 times more efficient, stands to reason. So, presenting confidence. Now, this is my personally proven structure that I've used for trainings, lectures, seminars, marketing presentations, an impromptu speech at a party, and even at my father's funeral. Having a structure helps me reduce my nerves, and it helps the people I teach reduce the nerves, and they can be seen as a key person of influence within their industry. Really get their message across. Understand the options that are available to them and create a step-by-step approach to increasing your income. So this is how to structure a presentation, or as a friend of mine suggested, unlocking the secrets of a presentation. Now, I'm going to cover three areas: the three sections of a presentation, a 5-part introduction, and the 7-stage marketing syntax. At the end of this video, you'll be able to use this mind map template to create a powerful marketing presentation. So there are 3 sections to a presentation: an introduction, a main body, or the message you want to get across, and a summary. So you just tell them what you're going to tell them what you want to tell them, and tell them what you just told them. because repetition is the most effective way to communicate a message. So, first of all, let's have a look at the importance of an introduction. An introduction lets you set your audience's expectations. That means that they can relax a little bit because they know what's coming, but also gives you the opportunity to communicate your objectives. What are you aiming to achieve by standing up in front and talking to them? Now, when it comes to an introduction, I use the acronym INTRO, I-N-T-R-O, which stands for interest, need, title, range, and objectives. So let's go through those 5 things individually. Get their interest. You've got to get them interested because they won't listen until they're interested. Now, a technique I use is to open a loop. Now, this is used by marketers and hypnotists. Now, it interests me that hypnotists and marketers use exactly the same technique. They're talking directly to the unconscious mind, bypassing, if they can, the conscious mind, the critical mind. And so the idea of opening a loop is to just ask a question and hint that you'll answer it later. So it gets people interested. Once they're interested, they want to know why they need to listen to you. Why should they listen? Why should they invest their time in listening to you? Also, it gives you the opportunity to expand on the benefits that they will get from listening to you. So you've got their interest, they know why they should listen, you've got to give it a title. Now, I'd suggest something engaging, maybe 3 to 5 words, starting off with how to achieve X or the 3 key aspects of Y. Something that encapsulates your message. So you've got their interest, they know why they should listen, you've given it a title, you can then talk about the range of things that you're going to cover. And this is an overview of what you're going to talk about, so they know what to expect. Everybody likes to have a compelling future. It lets them relax secure in the knowledge that they know what's coming. Finally, your objectives. Although finally, as far as the introduction is concerned, your objectives. Now, objectives should be the starting point for planning your presentation. Unless you know what you aim to achieve when you stand up and talk to people, it's not going to be a very clear presentation. So start off with your objectives when planning the presentation, and then finish your introduction by explaining what your objectives are. So establishing clear objectives is the foundation of any presentation. Objectives take your aims apart to list the constituent attitudes, skills, knowledge or behaviours that your aims are supposed to change. And so there's 3 parts of most objectives. A performance or behaviour, what do you want them to be able to do once you've finished? To what standard do you want them to do it? And what constraints or conditions are you going to place on it so they understand exactly what's expected? So have a look at those in the form of a template. You state the behaviour required, and so this should include a verb. You'll be able to list the 3 key aspects of, or you'll be able to use this template to create a presentation. Or you'll have a different attitude to something. The required behaviour, and then link that behaviour to at least 3 aspects of the required standard. Then link this to the conditions which the behavioural objective must be carried out. Now, it's a bit dry, so I've got an example for you here. Now, this is a practical example for training, for objectives for training of staff in a restaurant. Lay the table. Well, lay, there's the verb. Lay the table. That's the thing they've got to perform. With the crockery in the correct position, standard 1. The cutlery in the correct order, standard 2. And everything aligned within 3 inches of the table edge, standard 3. This must be completed inside 90 seconds. There's the condition or the constraint. Now, if you've got a team of 5 people that can actually do this and lay a single setting in 90 seconds, that means that that team of 5 people can lay 100 places in half an hour. Now, understanding how long it takes for a team to be able to prepare a seminar room or something, knowing that they can be done in half an hour, makes the planning and the logistics of working in a hotel much, much easier. So by having concise objectives enables you to measure measure the effectiveness of your presentation. Sorry. So let's have a quick look at what we covered in the summary, in the introduction. Get their interest, catch your audience's attention, explain why they need to know, why should they listen, give it a title, explain the range of things you're going to discuss, what you're going to talk about, and then the objectives. What do you want them to do or think? Now we come to the main body of your message. Now, in this particular example, I'm going to talk about this being a marketing presentation. And well, I'll discuss the marketing syntax in a moment. But whatever your message is going to be, it should be a subject that you know well, or something that you've thoroughly researched. And then you've got to rehearse it. Enjoy talking without worrying about what you need to say. Now, Steve Jobs from Apple was a past master of this. He would rehearse so much, not only what he had to say, but also the technical aspects of his presentation. So when he stood up there, he could just enthuse about the technology that he was presenting, rather than worrying about what he had to say next or whether something was going to go wrong. So this is a marketing presentation. So we'll discuss the marketing syntax. There's 6 points to this. Who do you work with? What problem, pain, or requirement do they have? What makes you credible? What is your product, process, or service? What results do you get? And what success stories do you have? Now, this same marketing syntax could be used outside of a formal presentation as a sort of 1 minute elevator pitch, where someone catches you and says, "Oh, what do you do?" You can quickly run through these sections inside around about a minute. Or alternatively, in this case, I'm suggesting that you put it into a 10-minute marketing presentation with an introduction and a summary on either side. So let's look. Who do you work with? Who's your target market? People want to know that you're talking to them or have a message for somebody that they know. What problem, pain, or requirement do they have? People want to know what's in it for them. If they have a problem or requirement that you can define, they will believe what you have to say will be relevant. And what's their situation? What specifically is their problem? Importantly, what are the implications in terms of health, time, and money that these problems cause? Because if you can talk about implications that they hadn't even considered, it's instantly going to add to your credibility. Well, this person obviously is the person I should go with, because they've understood not only my problem, but they've pointed out how much money I'm wasting or how much time I'm wasting. So that leads to, as I said, credibility. So what makes you credible? Your offer needs to be believable. You need to be credible. What experience, knowledge, or skill do you have that gives you the ability to solve their problems or meet their requirements? Okay, so what is your product or process or service? What can people expect if they buy your product or service? People like to know what's in their immediate future. Fear of the unknown may stop some people from buying. And then you don't have to go into a huge amount of detail, but just explain roughly what it is. I mean, a friend of mine said, I offer voice and IT voice and data services. And that's all he had to say. That was his product or service. He didn't have to go into a huge amount of detail. Oh, also, are you environmentally friendly? Because if you don't have an environmental management policy, there are certain companies that won't actually deal with you. Because the larger companies, especially in the UK, and government agencies, they must not only have an internal environmental policy, but they must prove that their suppliers have the environmental policy as well. Okay, what results do you get? How do you solve their problems? How do you meet their requirements? How do you get rid of that pain? So how do you solve the problem? What specifically will they experience? And what emotional rewards will they feel? If you can talk about how they will feel after this problem has been they've got rid of this problem, it's something that is going to motivate them to finding out more. And also, what savings will they get? Now we come to success stories. What success stories do you have? Now, people like stories. People love stories because they can just settle back and listen. There's nothing for them to argue about. Have a couple of them prepared, or have more than just a couple. Have a number of them prepared, and then use one or two that are pertinent to somebody in a similar situation. So what was their situation? What specifically was their problem? What were the implications in the terms of time, money and stress that that problem caused? How did you solve their problem? And what were the end results? Have a couple of these stories and then you can choose the one that's going to be pertinent to the person that you're talking to. Okay, so that's a summary of the marketing syntax, and these are all questions you can answer. Who do you work with? Be concise about that. Is it large businesses? Is it individuals? So when someone says, what do? You can immediately come up with, well, I work with people like... So who do you work with? And this creates relevance. What problem, pain or requirement do they have? Emphasizing the implications of that problem, pain. What makes you credible? You're the best person to help them. What is your product, process or service? And what results do you get? How do you negate the implications of those problems? And then have the success stories. And a success story is effectively going through the points above it, explaining how this affect how the story about one of your recent customers. Everyone loves stories. They can sit back and relax. Once upon a time. So the third part of your presentation, you've done your introduction, you've done your main body. In this case, I've suggested the marketing syntax. How do you summarize your presentation so people will actually remember your message? Well, if you've done a structured introduction, it's really quite easy. All you have to do is reiterate the range of items you've discussed, restate your objectives and check to see that you've met them, and ask for questions. More about questions in a minute. And then a call to action. What do you want them to do? Finally, a powerful statement to keep them thinking of you. So, about the questions. So you've explained, you've just gone on this. So this is the range of things I talked about. This is what I expected you to be able to do. These are my objectives. And then ask for questions. Now, ask for questions before you finish your presentation. Because if there are no questions, it gives you nowhere else to go. If you finish your presentation and said, any questions? And there aren't any, it just kind of ends, it sort of fizzles out. Also, be specific about wanting questions. Not observations, experience, or, God forbid, help. I've seen many presenters completely sidelined by an impromptu talking shop. And all of a sudden, everybody in the audience is chatting, and the presenter's just standing up at the front feeling slightly foolish. So be specific about asking for questions. Then you call to action. Be concise. Explain that you want something from them. Say what you want and by when you want it. For instance, please would you do X by Y? Or can I have your card so I can call you to discuss this further? Be concise. Explain what you want and ask for it. Because so many people don't make a sale because they're not actually asking for one. People are all ready to talk to them, but there's something that's stopping them from actually asking. Then have some kind of closing statement. Reiterate the title of your presentation and then hint at something more to come. So this was how to structure a presentation, unlocking the secrets of a presentation. I discussed the 3 sections of a presentation, the 5 parts of an introduction, the 7-stage marketing syntax, So you should now be able to reduce your nervous feelings before a presentation by having a clear structure. You'll be able to use the mind map template download to create a marketing presentation, and create also from the marketing syntax a 1-minute elevator pitch. Now, common mistakes that people make: not using the template, not practicing, putting off planning a presentation because it seems too frightening, leaving it to the last minute, just procrastinating, and not rehearsing aloud. It's all very well reading something from a piece of paper in your head, but I suggest you stand up, and even if you're on your own, stand up and rehearse out loud a good few times. So the next steps: answer the marketing syntax questions. So when someone asks you what you do, you can just fly through those, and you can do it in a conversational way. Rehearse your success stories. You can make them funny, you can make them touching. People like stories, so have a conviction and don't just go, well, I had a customer a little while ago, and be excited about it because you really made a difference to their life. And then also the next step is to complete the marketing presentation mind map template, and I'd suggest you use colored pens. Because with colored pens, when you read through it, you can get a picture of your presentation in your mind. So although I always use I have my mind map off to one side when I'm doing a presentation so I can glance down at it, I don't have any notes in my hand, so it means I can walk around and be natural, but still have my notes to hand. And because it's in the form of a mind map, I'm sort of running round it in a clockwise, so I'm going around it clockwise, seeing all the different colours. I never lose my place. But also, I've got that image of it, so very often I don't even have to look at the notes because I've got a picture of it in my mind. And also, practice your presentations and the techniques that I'm going to send you. Those are your next steps. Oh yeah, practice it as a conversation until you can talk about it with confidence and power. So look out for some more information. I'll be sending you more information about how to craft a message to different personality types and communication styles, how to use hypnotic language patterns, which marketers use all the time. There's nothing unusual about these. Also, I can talk about body language and voice tonality, how to emphasize particular phrases. I obviously want to go talk about the benefits of coaching. So make sure that you can receive my emails. I'm not going to send you too many. So thanks very much for watching. Please contact me if you'd like to find out more. info@stevedickinson.co.uk. My website is www.stevedickinson.co.uk. You can benefit from doing a presentation because success is not where you think. It's how you think. Thanks for watching. Steve Dickinson. I'll see you next time. Bye.